So, my favorite part in Infinity War was that part where Thanos walks up to Black Panther and then he calls him the N-word, and then he fucking dies. Really powerful scene.
Amazing.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the
Incredible.
DisOrganization podcast. I am Spekter, but you can call me Morgan. And today I am joined with my lovely hosts, Ryan and Ian. Please introduce yourselves.
Hey there.
Hey. That's
All right.
We exist.
I mean, pretty weak for an introduction, but I can work with this. And today,
What do you want? We exist.
we have a special guest on today.
Quote-unquote
Ian's partner in crime on the Bing Studio channel. Please welcome to the podcast, Steven.
What's up, y'all? Woo!
See, Ryan, Ian, you see that? That's how
Step
you
up
make
your
an entrance.
fucking game.
That's how you introduce yourself.
Step up your
He's just-
game, man.
he's
It's
hyping
Add some
weak
himself
flair.
sauce.
Add some pizzazz.
Do not enter that sauce into the county fair because it is weak and you will lose.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Saucy.
Counterpoint. Go fuck yourself.
I did
I
this
agree.
morning.
I would have.
Wasn't necessarily talking to you,
Bitch.
Steven.
Big oof. Real sad boy.
Morgan, I don't believe that. You would not fuck yourself if you could. I bet you.
That's a fucking bet.
Wait, are you trying to actually say that you would you'd fuck yourself if you literally could?
100%, yes.
Okay,
Right,
well.
I can't wait until we're rich and famous in this podcast, as we're inevitably going to be, and you get that rib removed. You suck your own dick. Can't wait.
Okay, Marilyn Manson.
Rue the day. That's the fucking thing, isn't it? Everyone says it's Marilyn Manson who did that.
even though he totally didn't. It's just a
Probably
rumor.
did, yeah.
Wait, there's a rumor that Marilyn Manson sucked his own dick?
No, there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess that's the short Cliff Notes version. But like the rumor is that he got his bottom two ribs removed on each side so he could do that. But he's gone on record and saying that he hasn't, and nobody knows how the rumor got started.
Probably
Huh.
some playground thing.
It's peculiar.
Yeah, probably. But people believe what they want to believe.
That's true. So what's the haps? Why you guys got me on today?
Well,
I mean,
I
were you going for the honest answer or the bullshit answer?
actually
both.
don't. Yeah, I actually don't
We'll mix it
really
together.
remember if there was like a specific reason we wanted to have you on.
All right, so Morgan's going for I don't remember. I'm going for because you're the only person available. I think that's the best answer.
So I was
Ian,
your
you
last
want to give it a
resort,
shot?
Big oof.
Not necessarily. We had a
I don't
wheel.
think so.
You were our
We
only
had a wheel
resort.
with names on it, and we just kind of spun the wheel. Your name kind of came up. We all groaned for a second. I was like, "Oh, fuck it."
Yeah, I figured as much. I don't really have friends. You only keep me around so I can edit Code Lyoko Abridged. God damn it.
Technically,
Speaking
you're
of
not wrong.
Code Lyoko
Content.
Abridged, that's one of our topics of discussion. You guys do an Abridged series, right?
Yes, I'm actually
Yeah.
planning another one as we speak.
Oh, nice.
And I'm planning like 4 more because why can't my life be even more hellish? Why not?
Yeah, so, that sounds like it fucking sucks. Why don't you tell us about that?
I mean, you want to go first, Ian, or you want me to do it? Since I'm typically the brunt around here when it comes to that shit.
Yeah, please be my guest. Well, technically, you are my
Okay.
guest, so.
So, I'll take you start to finish how one of at least our Abridged episode gets made. It's definitely probably not the same way anybody else makes theirs, and if it is, then I'm fucking shocked. Because there's probably a better way that we could go about doing all of this. So, for, let's just say, a standard episode of Code Lyoko Abridged, basically what winds up happening is we put an episode out, and typically we'll just write the next episode when we're ready to, like, feel like get ready to release it. We've started to kind of change our structuring in the back. I'm not going to go into too much detail because I want to keep that all a secret until we actually move in that direction publicly on the channels.
Right.
But so how a typical thing goes is we'll have a writing session together and we will just bounce ideas off of each other and jot them down and just be like, okay, what idea can we make work for this episode? The current approach right now is Code Lyoko is Abridged is not in a serialization approach at all. So like each episode is on its own. Rarely will actually tie into the previous episode. That is changing. I can say that because it doesn't give away too many details. But we are going to start serializing it. So how our writing session goes is we'll bounce ideas off of each other. And we'll be like, okay, that's a good idea. That's a shit idea. And that's another shit idea, and God damn it, Steven, why do you have so many shit ideas? My name's Ian, and fuck you, you fucking are terrible. So then he comes up with all the good shit, and then he just passes it to me, and then I go, okay, I guess I'll write the script. So I sit there and come up with dialogue based off the ideas that we mostly Ian has pretty much came up with. So then once we create the entire dialogue, we give it a good couple proofreads, adjust anything that needs to adjust, start adding in little visual gags into the script notes as needed, so that way while I'm editing it, I can remember to put those in and not just rely off my memory myself. So then once it's completely scripted and fleshed out to the point where, like, okay, this is an actual episode, then Ian starts recording his voice lines. We get on our partner in crime, CJ. She does her voice lines for us, and then I will sit down and do the behemoth of my voice lines because I voiced literally like 90% of the cast on Code Lyoko Abridged.
Just about, yeah.
And I'm not going to try to name all the characters I play on there because it's too damn many. But so once we get all the lines done, and there sometimes are a couple of other guest voice actors that we have to reach out to get their lines recorded and sent in. Once we do all that, then I will take all the voice files. I will go through everything to make sure I didn't miss any lines or nobody missed any lines in their recording file, which that does slip through the cracks sometimes. Sometimes I'll miss just that one funny one-liner that for whatever reason I thought was in the file but wasn't. So then I have to go through the tedious task of rearranging another recording session with somebody to just get that one line knocked out for me, which sometimes is not a challenge and sometimes it is a challenge. So then once all the voice lines are sent in, what I do then is I use the Adobe Suite religiously, even though it pisses me off to high hell sometimes. And so I'll open up Premiere Pro and I will begin loading in all the voice lines into there. Then I will begin the tedious process of video editing. If I sit down and just do nothing but video editing, it'll take me roughly about 3 days total time to get an entire episode edited down visually. And that's not the audio, that is just visually. So just getting all the lip flap animations, which I have to reanimate each and every lip flap for each scene to match the dialogue that we had recorded and wrote, and include all my visual effects, anything that I have to chroma key out, and all that fun visual effects stuff too. Then once all that is done, then it takes me about 2 to 4.5 hours to fully mix all the audio down in Adobe Audition to get everything, sounding as good as it can and get everything within the proper levels and all that with a overall master. Once that's done, it gets bounced back to Premiere Pro and then exported as a low quality, which is 720p HD render for Ian to watch. So that way he can check it, get another fresh set of eyes on it, make sure I didn't miss anything, make sure he didn't miss anything from the previous drafts. And then once both of us are satisfied with it, then I will re-export it again at 4K 60 and upload it to YouTube. So that is the entire process of making one episode of Code Lyoko Abridged. It is crazy from start to finish. For the total time for doing all of that, it can roughly take about a month. Just getting all the dialogue written, getting all the recording done. So total time for one episode is 1 month, basically, if we're really working on it.
Fuck, that's one hell of a time sink.
Yeah.
That's a behemoth of an undertaking.
But that 1 month typically turns into anywhere between 3 and 6 months because me and Ian do have our own, personal lives. That's just all the time summed up as like no breaks, no sleep, nothing. It's just full doing everything. It adds up to about a total month worth of time to do one episode of Code Lyoko Abridged.
Fuck, man, that's a lot of work.
It is, and I have the little fancy thing whenever I do one of those. It's called editing hell, because it never fails. There's always one thing that goes completely bonker fuck shit wrong, and I have to redo an entire scene in that episode because something went fuck shit wrong and I couldn't fix it correctly. So I normally just scrap the scene and restart just that one scene, not the whole video, but just that one scene.
That happens more times than we would like, but sometimes.
Then I'd like to admit, sometimes it's not even my fault though. Sometimes Premiere Pro just wants to crash out randomly.
Yeah, that's the main issue.
Yeah, Adobe products aren't always the most reliable.
I mean, they're not perfect, but for my use case, they definitely get the job done the way I want it done. I've tried using other editor software like DaVinci Resolve, which is another fucking headache that I don't even want to try to use because it's just
mindfuck trying to use that.
And Sony Vegas is like the trash can epitome of all video editors. Like, it just fucking blows dick. I can't do what I need to do in NCH VideoPad or in Windows Movie Maker
God.
because they just don't
All
have
of
the tools
Sony
that I
Vegas
need.
fans in the comments are gonna hate us now. Thanks a lot, Steven.
Oh, the whole 2 fans you got?
All right,
Man,
listen.
dude, don't roast us on our own podcast, dude.
We bring
We
you
didn't
into
bring you
our
on for
house
you.
and you diss us in our own
You
home.
come to our house. You disrespect our
right
family.
before we started, right before we started the podcast, these guys were literally saying the same thing I was just saying. But okay.
Bro, don't let them lie to you, fans. We love you. We respect you.
Oh man. But yeah, no, I Sony Vegas works for some people. For my use case, I just don't like it as a video editor. It's for my use case, it's a terrible video editor. For some people who are just like splicing together like a let's play or like like that like a picture collage of their family vacation, that's fine. But for
That's
me
fair
personally, Premiere Pro and like I would love to start using Avid as my video editor, but that costs a lot more money than Premiere Pro does. Like a lot more, because a lot of television studios will use Avid and whatnot. It's a reliable software, and that is the industry standard as far as the top of the line pros go. But Premiere Pro is the second tier of that, and there's been several feature films that have been edited in Premiere Pro. So that's why I feel pretty decent. Yeah, like Deadpool, for example, that was completely edited in Premiere Pro. So, and the Adobe family of products. So, if they can use it, I can use it too, and it works just fine for what I need it to do. Minus the crashes from time to time, but yeah. So that is the entire process of making an Abridged series.
Yeah.
It's painful from start to finish, but after that episode's out, me and Ian pretty much get a good laugh at it, think about what we could have done differently, and we just let the people enjoy it. And I mean, we enjoy making them, so I mean, we're willing to suffer through that much of hellish bullshit just to get something out because we know it'll be funny in the end.
Yeah. And I have seen a few episodes of Code Lyoko Abridged, and I do think it's like a genuinely funny series. So, whatever you guys are doing, it's working. So
We've been at
Yeah,
this
we've made a lot of changes over the years.
Yeah, we have been doing this for about, what, 4 or 5 years now?
4 or 5 years now, yeah. So we're up to episode 7, and I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but I have begun to edit episode 8. We have all the stuff in because we had a big recording gangbang, but I am beginning to work on episode 8. So I look forward to putting that out for everybody to see it. But we also have been shifting a lot of stuff around behind the scenes in our scripting process and that whole process of putting it together an episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen a lot of great response since episode, I want to say 6, because that's when our format kind of shifted a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're trying out this new format. I'm not going to go into like a ton of detail because I don't want to spoil it, but this new format looks like it's going to work out just fine for us. It's some big changes as far as behind the scene work goes, but overall I think it'll deliver a better product at the end of the day.
Well, you touched on something I wanted to get at, which is what sort of responses you've been getting. How's your work been treated online?
Well, episode 1 was kind of a dumpster fire. We wrote the entire script, voice acted the entire script in less than 3 hours.
And this was because Team 4-Star was doing their first annual Abridge-a-thon, like their own little competition for abridging. And so I kind of like, hey, I talked to Steven, like, hey, we should do a Code Lyoko thing. And so we just kind of
did it.
We just kind of shat out episode 1. And
Because
I absolutely mean shat out, because that is...
It was terrible.
It was god awful. And
It was terrible.
I implore people not to view it, because first off, it's not the best quality for us. We don't get better until like episode 2 or 3. But I mean, because
for a while, episode 2 was like our best reviewed episode. Everybody liked that one because they're like, okay, well, the first one sucked. The second one was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then episode 3, 4, and 5 just kind of all just like got shat out. And then we also like toyed around with doing the idea of half episodes where like they were just focused on one character and
like
their
more
backstory.
character
We got like,
explanations.
I think we got like what, 1 done?
I think we got like 2. Well, technically 1. Like the other one was literally just like an AMV, but
Yeah, well, Deep Throat by Cupcake played at diabolical volumes.
yeah, and I despise that song, but against my better judgment, I let it slide. But
And now it's Odd's official ringtone, and you're Odd's voice actor, so how do you like that bag of shit,
you know,
bitch?
I mean, it's a nice Easter egg for those that have actually took the time to actually view that.
Watch the
masterful piece of
cancer
shit.
that we put out.
But no.
But yeah, no, episode 1, we recorded all within 3 hours, and then I spent the next 3 days shitting it together on the Premiere timeline, which I was not all that great at doing lip flap animations at that given time. I had only done like 2 previous things where I was doing that type of work. One of them turned out really good, and that was the second one that I did, so I'm like, you know what, I can just translate this over to Code Lyoko Abridge. It'll work. This is only one shot anyways. Also, my bigger mistake was I didn't have access to my backup vault that has all the good quality Code Lyoko Abridged episodes on it. So we wound up using subpar rips, and it didn't look too pretty because all the frames were like bleeding all over each other.
Ooh. Yikes.
Because I still had the old rips from when I used to watch it growing up. I had it recorded to a DVR, and I still have those recording. Oh, actually, no, I think I've trashed them now that I've been able to rip my DVD collection in. So I've got the DVD quality clips that I've backed up into my home server, and those are the clips that I use when we edit one of these together now. But when episode 1 came out, I was using my DVR rips. And if you know anything about the difference between TV signal and a computer video file and whatnot, it's like a lot of times TV broadcasts in what's called interlaced, and most computer video editors use progressive. Now, you can change that setting, but against my better judgment, I did not. And so episode 1 looked like a dumpster fire, it smelled like a dumpster fire, and it tasted like a dumpster fire, so it was probably a dumpster fire.
Yeah, the recording process, or at least from my end, was awful because we had just picked, the inopportune time because my folks at the time were hosting a family reunion, and I didn't necessarily have a good place to record.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, which is why I'm bringing it up.
So you ever just...
Because
oh, that's right, yeah, and then so his audio
it's like a whisper, and there was one line where I'm supposed to yell, and I absolutely couldn't. I actually couldn't because despite me being upstairs, there were still guests, and I didn't want to interrupt them with me screaming my lungs out and them thinking I'm going insane. But so it's just this whisper screaming, and to this day I still fucking hate it. I still
he's just like, I'm the only one, damn it.
Exactly. And I'm hoping that we can get the chance to redo that. I don't know if we ever will, but for now,
the current
that is
plans as it is I think we're still trying to attempt that after we finish up season 1, right?
I think so.
So we're gonna re-record episode 1
to where it'll be better quality video wise and voice wise, because
a remaster, if you will, because like Jeremy's voice back then was literally it sucked so hard.
It was almost like same thing as Frieza from the original Dragon Ball, kind of
like it, but like I have to give myself credit because I used that original voice as the basis of Jeremy's voice going forward.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the building blocks were there for Jeremy's current voice, but his voice was like, and the Lord said unto John, come forth and you shall receive eternal life. And John came fifth and won a toaster. Ha! Words to live by. So I took that voice and then wound up just like maxing out overdrive. And so Jeremy's current voice is like, I'm Jeremy Balboa. I have a supercomputer. Fuck you. So like it builds off of itself, but like that first impression I did was terrible, and then Ulrich's was even worse. Because Ulrich's was like this right here, so it sounded close to Jeremy's. Now I just hear this voice right here because it sounds different enough. But
and then for Odd, it's literally just my own speaking voice. I'm not as talented.
He's the only guy in here that him and CJ both use their natural voice.
See, I'm not as talented as Steven. Steven is practically D. Bradley Baker Jr. over here doing like 95% of the fucking voices here.
No, more like Seth MacFarlane Jr.
Still, you know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
Because I was just rewatching some of the Ben 10 series, and he does so many fucking voices.
Well, like I said, I voiced like 90% of the Code Lyoko Abridged cast.
Yeah, and I'm grateful for it because Steven's been a real asset here. You know, I'm grateful that I've met him, and it's been a journey. It really fucking has.
No matter how much Ian hates me, he still has to appreciate me from time to time. Isn't that right?
Exactly, yeah. Even though you're an absolute asshole 95% of the time, there's still that 5% that's still...
Hey,
he's
I only
alright.
become an asshole when Windows doesn't want to work.
That's true.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Like a behind the curtains look at what goes into making an episode of Code Lyoko Abridged.
Basically, TLDR, it's fucking painful and an absolute living nightmare. Never attempt to do anything in your life. If you think you're being creative by doing a project like this, fucking turn around and just be a voice actor. Don't be the editor too. Don't be the scriptwriter. It fucking blows dick. Just don't do it. Just only voice, okay? Only be a voice actor. Don't make the same mistakes I have. Okay? It sucks.
Well, shit,
Well,
I guess
actually,
I
It's still
can't-
fun, but it sucks.
I guess I should...
If I actually...
Fuck.
At least I know what I have to look forward to if I actually do help you guys on Season 2.
God.
Well, I mean, you'll be mostly probably in the writing process. I'm gonna show Ian eventually, whenever he comes to visit me next, how to actually edit one of these damn things.
And I will need that information because I'm working on my own other Abridged series. I'm starting another one.
And he's gonna edit it, and I'm only gonna be a
potentially.
voice actor for it.
Maybe. I'm still thinking about it. You know, I
How the
at least
tables
want
have
to edit
turned.
episode 1, but I'm still trying to craft the story and how everything wants to go, and I'm gonna...
Without
What series are
without
you
giving things
abridging?
away. Oh, hold on. Are we wanting to give that away? He just asked what series are we abridging.
Yeah, am I not allowed to ask that?
No, I'll announce it here. Even though it's still in early development, I want to do like... It's not going to be like a parody, so to speak. I want it to be like some sort of an original, but I want
DisOrganization podcast exclusive, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready.
I just messaged you, Ian, because I'm pretty sure we're on the same page.
Maybe. No, you're not. You're not correct.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
No, it's something that we have never talked about. I might have mentioned it a couple times. I have
think you might
been
have.
dropping this recently, you know, so don't be too shocked. But I want to make like an original Ben 10 storyline that's still sort of in the same vein of like an abridged.
Says he doesn't want to talk about it. Immediately fucking talks about it.
Well,
That actually sounds dope as hell.
like, yeah. Yeah, so basically, it's going to be like a Ben 10 original abridged type of deal. I mean, abridged is sort of original in a way, but nonetheless, it's going to be a Ben 10 series. So
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think the main plan is for Ian to learn how I do Code Lyoko Abridged and get used to doing stuff like that, so that way when he goes to do this project, it'll be a lot less of a learning curve, so to speak.
Yeah.
So, I mean, each
Can I just say-
material is different when it comes to the source material. Like, we also run a series which hasn't been updated in God knows how long called Angel Teats. It's Angel Beats Abridged for that anime. That editing process, it's still similar to what I do for Code Lyoko Abridged, but because of the source material, there's a lot of different visual stuff that I got to do to make it look okay without, because like there's some scenes where they're talking and background objects are moving, so then I have to start cropping and stuff. So it can be a pain for like anytime you see like a really sophisticated shot on an abridged series, just know that that took several hours for somebody to crop and map to get it to play right.
Yeah.
It's a pain.
Yeah, I bet.
Also,
I heard Team 4-Star guys talk about that when they were doing some behind-the-scenes stuff on Hellsing Abridged.
Yeah, it's a colossal pain in the ass.
but the end product is definitely worth it. I feel, but it's just like
Oh,
the
yeah,
arduous, you know, going into it and editing it. It's like, oh my god, I really want to shoot myself. Like that's just what I'm getting. I don't have that experience. You know, I just edit, you know, regular videos. I don't do advanced lip flaps or anything major like that.
Me.
You know,
Yeah.
but like I can still understand where that's coming from, because you know I just graduated film college a few months ago, so I know. Wow, I just sound like a pompous asshole here.
I mean, maybe, but also
Here's Ian, the pompous
congrats.
asshole.
Because like
This isn't a podcast of pompous assholes. I don't know what it is.
it's just like, okay, at one point I had gotten it into my head like, oh man, these Team 4-star guys, they're doing something really cool. I want to do something like that. So I started like brainstorming ideas for abridged parodies I wanted to do. I'm not going to tell you what I actually came up with, but because it doesn't fucking matter, I'm not doing it. But like when I got to like the editing phase of this whole thing and realized that I needed to do the lip flaps, I'm just like,
How
No.
the fuck do I do this?
Mick, fuck that. I'm not doing this. This was a bad idea, and I never should have
Here's a
tried
word
it.
of advice. If you are really serious about pulling off a project like this, practice, practice, practice. Go watch tutorials. Team 4-star has quite a few, and that's actually where I learned a few of the techniques that I use when I edit one of these videos. I don't use like all their techniques. I use only like a couple. I definitely learned how to do lip flaps from their techniques, you know, how to crop them. I use that. But as far as the actual video editing layout and workflow that I go through, it's not the same at all. But definitely, if you're wanting to get serious about doing a project like this, look into tutorials. At some point, I'm going to put out like a 10-hour video on how to do like all this shit the way I do it. I've just never gotten around to recording it. But definitely look up tutorials. Ask around forums where, you know, it's popular to do this kind of thing. See if anybody's done it before and get advice. If you are truly serious, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. But if you're focused and driven enough, like me and Ian have been, you come out with a good product. Well, I mean, our product was bad, good, okay, and then good. So
yeah, it's had its rough starts. It's had its on and offs.
I mean, everything does.
I mean, every project,
especially
yeah.
a project
Oh, yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it's gonna have its ups and downs. It's especially gonna have its especially rocky starts. You know.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it can happen if you're passionate enough. If it's something that you really want to do, then absolutely just fucking go for it. It does
Yeah.
take a hell of a lot of practice, so you've got to be ready for that. But other than that, if you're really truly passionate about it, then you can really just accomplish anything, because it's basically the gist of it.
It's a damn good thing I'm not ever going to do an abridged series of my own, because that sounds like a fucking nightmare. Like, the worst I have to do in my videos is, like, resizing a bunch of pictures at once. And that's pretty much the extent of what I need to do.
that's
Just scrub
basically
the gameplay
that's a
footage.
drop in the bucket compared to one of these
Yeah,
videos.
yeah. Like, my videos take time to edit, but nowhere near as much as it takes yours.
It's a challenge, and honestly, me and Ian do get creative burnout from time to time, and that's why a lot of times there's like long ass pauses between episodes. Like, I think the longest pause we took was almost like a year and a half between episodes, when normally our turnaround time's about 4 to 6 months total to get an episode out.
Well,
We'd gotten to the next episode and we were just so burnt out. We're like, okay, what are we going to do for this episode? And that's another thing. If you're going to take on a project like this, one thing that'll help you is rewatch the original source material. See what they did with the story. For instance, Something Witty Entertainment. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not. I hope
yeah.
you are.
They're great.
They do
Sounds
Sword
familiar.
Art Online Abridged and also My Hero Academia Abridged now. Just from episode 1 of Sword Art to their current one, there's like a huge tonal difference in how they
Yeah.
tell their story. But at the same time, one thing that me and Ian should have done going into Code Lyoko Abridged was stay more true to the story instead of just one-off episodes that don't make any fucking sense outside of themselves. But what will really help you in the long run is sit down, get a good grasp on the whole story, because the art of abridging is retelling the same story with the same source material in a different way.
right.
It gives you that creative difference to make it your own.
And like with
And-
SAO Abridged, they basically fixed that show in many people's eyes.
They
like,
did. And I'll be that guy. I actually do like the original SAO. I really love it.
I liked the Einkrad arc, and that was it.
I-
When they got into
I-
the fairy dance arc, it was like, oh wow,
I will
this
say
is
the
bad.
fairy
This is
dance
platinum
arc-
bad.
The fairy dance arc did kind of suck a little bit, but then the Gun Gale arc kind of redeemed it a little bit. And towards the end of the fairy dance arc was pretty good too. Especially Mother's Rosalia. That one was phenomenal. I love that arc. But the SAO arc, or not the SAO, but the GGO arc was pretty good too. But again, that all ties into, like, be familiar with the original source material. You be comfortable enough to poke fun at it. And don't just do a series you hate just to rip on it, because then it'll be obvious, you're just hating on it. Whereas the people that do, something witty, when they do SAO Abridge, you can tell that they love the original show. Yeah. That's why they're able to poke so much fun at it without it, with it coming off as genuine poking fun and not just, I'm saying this because I hate it.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely become familiar with the source material of whatever you're going to work on. And, try to write around the source material. And like I said, me and Ian have made our mistakes with, some of these earlier episodes where they were just one-off. We're fixing that. Mm-hmm. Again, not a whole lot of detail yet, but we are working on that to make the end product a lot better.
I'm thinking that this will be like a redemption for CLA, for Code Lyoko Abridged.
Oh yeah, especially season 2. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, because granted, this is this is a rocky start. We've had our tribulations here, but we're learning, we're getting better with this, and hopefully we can bring something that's actually moderately good, instead of just shitting out weed humor, poop humor, etc.
Yeah.
We actually want to ground things and stuff. I don't know.
That's exactly right.
I don't want to go into too much. I don't know what I can and can't say.
Nothing that your NDA says that you can't say.
We had an NDA.
You guys actually
we do now. I'm typing it up as we speak.
Oh, great. All right.
You violated it. You owe me $2 million, Ian.
Do I look like I have that kind of money?
Yes.
In his imagination, yes.
In my imagination, yeah.
It's his headcanon for you, Ian.
God.
But yeah, so that's all. It's a lot of things. That's what all goes into making an Abridged series, though. It's a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, tears, and wanting to commit sewer slide there for the YouTube-friendly audience. So yeah, that's or demonetizing yourself. It's a lot of that. That's what goes into it. But if you're focused and you stay committed to it, you can make something beautiful, which me and Ian are trying to make something beautiful out of the train cluster wreck rape that we have going on right now.
Time will tell if our plan actually works, but for now I think it's in a good place. Or not good place, but it's getting there.
Yeah, pretty much everything you guys said for the past minute I didn't hear because my audio decided to shit the bed hardcore.
You were busy being stupid over there, huh?
Well, my computer's
it's okay. You're putting the podcast together, so you'll hear it when you go to edit it.
So yeah, I guess there's that.
So it'll be a mystery for now. Guys, can I just say real quick that don't let anyone ever tell you that abridged content is not original content.
It absolutely is original content. Anybody like me and Ian that can take a wonderful show like Code Lyoko and turn it into the clusterfuck that we did, that takes nothing but creativity, right? Okay? The wrong kind of creativity, but I mean, somewhere along the lines, I'm like, you know what? Let's make Aelita a stoner. Let's make Odd all about the MLG bullshit. Make his ringtone fucking Deep Throat by Cupcake. Fucking make William some pervert douchebag looking motherfucker. It takes nothing but creativity. Yeah. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you're not creative because you're using something that already exists. All you who say that, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So I think that's a good note to end that topic on.
Works for me. Yeah. I'm running out of stuff to talk about it.
I'm shit at segues.
I explained my whole life story.
What else do we got on this stupid fucking topic list? Film adaptations of games and anime. Do we want to talk about that?
I suppose we can do that.
I mean, okay. We've had a lot of film though. Do you want to just cut straight to the Samurai Jack game?
3 words.
Yes.
Netflix's Death Note.
Shit. Garbage. Trash. Awful.
Yeah, absolute trash. No.
Hold on. I do wanna go out on this point here though, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this. if you watch the movie without the actual manga or the anime or the Japanese live action in mind, if you push all that to the side and you're watching that movie going in blank, clean slate with no knowledge of the universe whatsoever, it is pretty decent. Like, they do a good job at getting from point A to point B. Yeah, even though putting that aside, there is some choices I probably myself wouldn't have made when doing something like that, but overall, story-wise, how they told it was pretty damn good. Now, if you bring the rest of the series back into the back of your head, that's when it looks like utter complete garbage, because honestly, we're all a bit biased. We like the original better.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Everything you said can
if you
also
watch
be
it
applied
and
to
set that
fucking
aside-
like Dragon Ball Evolution, but you don't see anyone.
That is also
Yeah.
true. Or Boruto, okay? If you set the original stuff aside and watch it for what it is and without anything else clouding your judgment, it's a pretty decent thing. And even the creator of Death Note himself said he liked how they told the story. So, I mean, if the guy that made it says he likes it, I mean, come on.
I haven't even like actually
Yeah, but
seen
how much
the
was he
original
paid
Death
to
Note,
say that, though?
But like the only
It's a
thing I
real
liked
question.
about the Netflix version was Ryuk and just
I
how
think
he
that's
looked.
the main consensus, because Willem Dafoe, for the 20 minutes of screen time that he has, he still pulls it off. You know, he's creepy. Willem Dafoe's always creepy. I mean, have you looked at his fucking smile in real life?
I
want to
much
mention
would've
this.
preferred
Willem
if,
Dafoe did an interview.
no.
He actually didn't watch Death Note or even read the mangas before he auditioned for that.
Really?
He just saw the character. He did the laugh, almost identical to Ryuk's laugh in the actual anime series, and they casted him. He had never seen or read a single piece
That's
of
actually pretty fucking incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I actually would have preferred if Ryuk was just kept like slightly out of focus the entire movie, because I think that would have made him like a bit creepier. But as far as Ryuk, those are my
it. I
only...
don't know. They still knocked that shit out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryuk would, like every appearance Ryuk made in the movie was one of the best parts of it. But yeah, I just think that if they just kept him like, if they just kept his image like a little blurry in the background, I think it would have been a little cooler. Just make things like a tad creepier. But that's really more of a nitpick. When I could be making like scathing criticisms against the rest of the movie, but I really don't feel like it, because everything that could be said about that movie's already been said.
Yeah. And plus,
Yeah.
it's probably about like what 2 or 3 years too late.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But something that's not too late, that's actually coming up, is the Monster Hunter movie.
Okay, how many of
tomorrow.
us here have actually played Monster Hunter? Because I really don't want to be the only one
Nope.
who has.
I haven't. I'm probably going to get into it within the next couple of months.
Alright, get the Xbox
I
One
think I
version of
played it,
Monster
like,
Hunter World
once.
so we can play together, Forehead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro.
But like
Not
they
me
just
either.
released the posters for it just last weekend. So
I appreciate how I don't actually know the names of the actors and the actor and actress that were in that picture, but the guy,
yeah,
on point. That's how Monster Hunter armor looks. That's how Monster Hunter weapons look. But the girl belongs in Game of Thrones. I don't know what the fuck she's doing in a Monster
Hold
Hunter.
on. That's not a complaint against the actor or actress. That's a complaint against the costume
Oh, it's not.
department, the design
It's not. I
department.
just don't know the names of the people wearing the costumes.
I know what's her name was in Resident. She was in all those Resident Evil movies.
Yeah. God, it's been a hot minute since I saw those.
She's in Resident Attack on Titan Note.
Wow.
What?
Resident Attack on Titan. It's Resident Evil.
Yeah, Resident Attack on
and-
Titan. No, you haven't heard of it, Ian? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, see,
Apparently
he
not.
knows about it. You don't know about it, Ian? Jeez. Step up
Yeah,
your game, just like the intro game. Your sauce is weak.
Friend
Do
shared
not
it
enter
to
the
me
sauce
on-
into the
on
county
your Twitch
fair because
face.
it is weak.
Alright, shut up.
Yeah, but God, what video game?
All right, what else
What
you got?
video, has there been like a good live action adaptation of an anime like ever? Because I know that I know Edge of Tomorrow was technically based off of a manga.
Actually, hold on. We're gonna circle back to Death Note. The Japanese live adaptations worked pretty fucking well. They even got the original voice cast to sit there and dub the live action one. It works marvelously. Like, they did super fucking well in it. So Death Note has a total of 3 live action spin-offs. They have the Japanese TV series, which did pretty well. They have the Japanese movie series, which did pretty fucking well. Then they have the Trainwreck Netflix series that did okay
That was a
or
Trainwreck.
not well at all if
Did-
you have the other
Did
Death Note in the
better
back of
than
your head.
it had any right to, for any reason. People watched that movie, and that kind of upsets me. I watched that, and that upsets me.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, the Japanese live adaptations of them worked flawlessly. So those were good adaptations. Like they did really good on those.
I heard the Japanese Attack on Titan movies were kind of subpar. I never fully saw them.
I saw like one
but-
clip of it, and I was like, "Wow, that looks really bad." And
Yeah,
then I
like
just
the
kind of-
Colossal Titan looks really weird. The Armored Titan is. Yeah,
A lot of-
no, the Titans.
because that's
The
the
Titans
thing.
are really just going for like creep factor and really like not even that, but it's just like weird.
Has
you know?
anyone seen the Netflix live action
This
Mob
is my
Psycho?
sibling, who is not related by
They made a
blood.
live action Mob
Yes,
Psycho.
there's a live action adaptation of Mob Psycho, and it's just as bad as you
Really?
expect.
Oh,
It's so stiff and so awkward. But like, okay, there's a fundamental problem with making a live action version of Mob Psycho, and that's that Mob Psycho's animation is already so like off model intentionally. Like its animation style is more conducive to dynamic fight scenes because it's animated. Like a lot of the shit that goes on in Mob Psycho would not work outside of animation. And even if
Right.
you like took Mob Psycho, kept it animated but placed it in like an animation style, like say the shit that A1 puts out, like SAO and everything else that looks virtually identical to SAO, like it wouldn't work because just like the art style lends itself to the movements that the animators put into the episodes, and then you translate that to live action and it just doesn't fucking work. It looks awkward and cheesy as hell. Granted, that's a lot of what Mob Psycho is to begin with, but it goes from
It
endearing.
makes you love the cheesiness.
Like in Mob Psycho, in the animated version, it's like, okay, yeah, it's cheesy and dumb, but it's endearing, and I like watching it. When it's in live action, you're like, wow, this is really bad, and I kind of wish I was just watching the animated version again. But yeah, it was pretty cringe. I got like 2 episodes into it, and I'm like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like, the secondhand embarrassment I was getting from watching that show was so bad that I physically had to turn off my TV.
Before you physically vomit.
Yeah. But, Full Metal Alchemist didn't get treated much better either.
No, it wasn't. It was boring as all fuck.
Yeah.
It was stiff, and it was like it went on for way too long. It was like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, they tried adapting, like, the first 2 arcs of Brotherhood.
Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
God, I still can't forgive what
All
they did
hail
to
Lord
Gluttony.
Nuxtaku. All hail Lord Nuxtaku.
You almost have to try to make
God,
that
it's been a
show
while
boring.
since I watched any of
Like-
Nuxtaku's videos.
Dude, I still watch him to this goddamn day. All hail the Memenator.
I think the last video I watched from him was the fucking breaking down Escanor's powers from 7 Deadly Sins, and that was it's been a hot minute since that video.
He makes some primo content.
SAO is getting a live action adaptation pretty soon, I think.
Oh fuck.
I'm
So is One Piece.
actually kind of
from
excited
Netflix.
for that one.
Oh, come no.
I've
Netflix better
I've actually
stop.
never watched
Hold on,
One
no,
Piece,
no.
so-
Netflix better fucking stop.
I feel like they should just like stay away from the big 3. Just don't touch One Piece, don't touch Naruto, don't touch Bleach. Just stay away from all
Bleach
of
has
them.
already
I can
been
have
touched.
Naruto.
Has
and
it?
Bleach was actually kind of decent.
No, okay. Well, I haven't watched Bleach. I also
Dragon
haven't
Ball
watched
Z
One
live
Piece, and I
action.
haven't watched like
Oh.
15/16 of Naruto.
Yeah. But from what I've heard, I think like the original creator of One Piece is executive producing the Netflix series, so they're gonna be like really on their ass, hopefully. But
Fingers crossed.
yeah.
But Netflix
So,
always
I
gets their
believe-
way.
Theatrically, I think we're getting a live-action Attack on Titan and Akira. Akira's been in the pipeline since early 2000s. Taika Waititi was supposed to direct, and they were almost ready to shoot.
Wow.
But Marvel called and's like, "Hey, do Thor 4 for us." And it's like, "Fuck, all right, fine, I'll do it." So Akira's on hold in development hell once again.
Oh, rest in peace.
And,
Like always.
And I think Attack on Titan got their director in Andy Muschietti, who directed the It movies.
Oh,
So
he's a good director.
he is.
Yeah,
I
he's
like
solid.
it.
But
I mean, even the director that came on board for the Netflix edition of Death Note, like, he was a good director. I just don't think that was a good project
Yeah,
for
no.
him.
I don't know. I'm trying to look up his name. Adam Wingard. What else has he done? I want to say he's done. Oh shit! He's doing Godzilla versus King Kong.
oh fuck, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good at those kinds of movies. Like, he does a bang-up
okay,
job with
okay.
those.
He did Your Next, that weird
Can we
movie with
can we just talk about King of the Monsters real quick? Who's seen it here?
I actually haven't. I've been meaning to, but I've never.
Neither
got around
have
to it.
I. So, next topic.
All right. Guess I'll Pokemon go fuck myself then.
I play Pokemon Go every day. I play Pokemon Go.
I'm happy to see that
When I wake
Detective
up,
Pikachu
I'm ready to
and
go.
Sonic are breaking that curse of video game movies just not being allowed to be good.
Yeah, which I feel is going to go the same way for the Mario movie. I mean, then again, it's Illumination, so it's going to be subpar anyways.
Yeah, just
Illumination
having
sucks.
like the
Hold on, Illumination is the same company that keeps shitting out
correct
the minions.
and just by having their name,
Their reputation is
yeah,
already
just having
dead.
like their name
I
associated
don't care
with
what
the
they
Mario
put out.
movie.
I'm not watching
I'm
it.
actually kind of surprised that Nintendo would give give the Mario license to Illumination, considering how much people hate them.
Typically, when it comes down to that stuff, it's whatever company has the highest bid.
It could also be that, if I remember correctly, Illumination is owned by Universal, and Universal is putting in a Super Mario Land in their theme parks.
That's probably what it is.
That might be it. So they just pushed it off onto their cheapest studio to save a buck.
Potentially. And if I remember correctly, I think Universal just bought DreamWorks not too long ago.
They
Wow.
did, and then Disney also owns like, or no,
Blue Sky. Which is
yeah, they
Fox.
own Blue Sky. Yeah,
So
Disney bought them out, and it kind of pisses me off now because like at the end of episodes or movies now, instead of it being 20th Century Fox or Fox Studios or Fox Searchlight Pictures, it's just it's like I don't remember what they call it. Like they still use the general.
yeah, like they're still
logo,
using like,
but,
Searchlight Entertainment, but they're calling it 20th Century Studio. They just dropped the
Yeah.
Fox name.
Like I don't get that.
I don't know either, man. It's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe because like a new era in the Disney apocalypse.
Oh boy. Next you're gonna tell me Disney's gonna own the right to my poop. Every time I gotta go poop, I gotta pay Disney royalties.
Disney's gonna.
That actually reminds me
Disney's
of
gonna
like
own
not too
fucking
long
Tesla.
ago.
They're gonna own Apple.
Disney actually like
Every tech company.
No, nobody's gonna own Apple but Apple, dude. They've
actually
they've said that they would much rather go bankrupt first than get bought out by somebody.
speaking of Apple, I think they're in the market to buy out Sony probably.
Yeah, they are.
They've been talking about it. They don't know if they want to pull the trigger yet.
Yeah. And there's that whole
Which
Spider-Man debacle.
I
as
hope
well.
they don't, because then the quality of their products is going to go down, and I like their products. So,
Well, I mean, really,
yeah, because Sony has its own onset of problems. Like,
yeah, they don't have
I mean-
much going for them except for maybe Spider-Verse
Yeah.
and Spider-Man as a whole.
Yeah.
but even that, they just lost it out to Disney again.
Well, I mean, they're still in creative. They still help fund the movies. Like the rights are still with Sony. It's just that if a Sony gets bought by Apple, then the rights automatically revert back to Marvel/Disney
Yeah.
because of whole
So,
fucking spiel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Matt Pat said it better.
he did.
Last I checked, Sony is still winning the console wars, although it seems to not matter as much as it used to.
Nah.
Eh.
My whole thing is just play whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
I have an Xbox. I also have a PlayStation. As far as console goes, I much rather use my PlayStation for stuff because I run into less headaches with it. But I'm also the same kind of guy that likes Mac and iPhone and iPad. Like, I like the Apple side, not the Windows side or the Android side. And for my console, it's kind of one of those things where, I like the PlayStation better than I like the Xbox, mostly because it works better for me. I don't run into as many problems.
I'm also one of the people who has like all 3 current gen consoles. I really don't give my PS4 that much attention anymore though, because I only bought it to play Spider-Man and Persona 5, and I've beaten those games. So,
dude, Persona 5 is so beautiful.
It's a great game. Persona 5 Royal is coming out this month.
I basically orgasmed right there while I was playing it.
Yeah, I've been exclusively
every single second, just always orgasming.
All right, who's best girl? Go. Let the comment section judge you accordingly for your choices.
Nope, I'm not gonna. Nope, I'm not getting into that flame war. We're not doing
it's Haru.
that. Fuck
it's
no.
Haru. Anyway, yeah. Persona 5 The Royal is coming out
I can neither agree nor disagree. I don't want to be held liable and burned at the stake for my answer. So.
Well, I mean, as long as it's not
Makoto,
you're still welcome on the show. So.
Well, I'm just gonna leave now. No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, Royal comes out this month, and I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it at launch, even if I have to sell one of my vital organs to do it. I'm getting that game.
Sell it. Do it.
There was supposed to be a fucking like Dynasty Warriors Persona 5 clone coming out last month, but turns out it only released in Japan, so I have no idea when it's getting released here. Which is kind of cringe, not gonna lie. But
So here, I've got a question for you. What goes into hosting a podcast? I'm gonna flip
literally nothing. You talk, and then they talk, and then everyone talks, and that's it.
I mean, that's just the middle, though. First, you got to like struggle for at least 30 minutes, usually an hour, to get the microphones to work. And I mean, absolutely struggle. If you're not struggling to the absolute max, you're not doing it right. You got to sit there and you have to try 100,000 settings. It almost sounds
like doing a podcast is just like doing a goddamn Abridge series.
Wow, it sounds like everyone who deals with computers in any capacity is going to have to deal with some bullshit.
I mean, even at work, I work for a radio station. We own like 5 stations. And yeah, there are some days where, well, actually most days we don't really run into too many technical problems. But when those problems pop up, it's a fucking living nightmare. Like, there was one day, like, literally last week, one of our major systems, I'm not going to go into a bunch of details because the last thing I need is somebody trying to DDoS my work or, like, hack my work shit. And yeah, so I'm not going to name names. I'm not even going to name where I'm from or nothing like that. But,
hey, well, it might make a good story, though. You come back in the podcast and tell us how you got DDoSed.
And then I'd get fired and then have no income. So let's not do that. But anyway, so one of our major systems, I'm not going to name what it does or what it is, had a big oopsie and basically got stuck during the middle of the day, and I had to manually start it back up again. I let our IT guy know, and the IT guy's like, okay, cool, I'll look into it. So he looks into it. He restarts the machine, and he gets everything turned back on, and another unrelated problem starts happening with it, and we're like, okay, that's great. So I wound up having to run a portion of something manually because we just couldn't get the regular parts that we needed working. So then he gets it fixed. He goes, okay, restart it one more time and it should be working now. So I checked it. Yeah, it's working. Sweet. And then later on in the day, another completely unrelated thing happens. And I'm just like, the fuck?
Hold on a second. So is describing or telling the audience what these machines are or what they do actually going to get you in trouble?
They wouldn't get me in trouble, but it would kind of clue people in on what. Yeah,
it's probably better just not to risk it.
Like I wouldn't get in trouble for mentioning the name of the software or anything like that. I just, I don't want to put the thought in somebody's head.
Well, because the story currently sounds like, so then she said this, and then that happened. You remember when that happened? And then we went on to that place, the place we all know about.
I can see that. Okay, I'll at least tell you what it does. The machine that I'm referring to basically handles our automation for the radio station. So, like, it's responsible for whenever nobody's there in the middle of the night, keeping something on the air. That machine had big fucky-wuckies last week.
Hmm.
And it was a pain in the ass. Because it is a very important machine. But I'm not going to name the software or where I work. Because, again, I don't want to put that thought in somebody's head. I mean, off the record, I'll probably tell you guys once we're done with the podcast here.
Yeah.
And then we'll DDoS you. And
Yeah,
then
there you
we'll
go.
laugh.
Then I'll still get in trouble.
But at least you'll know who did
situation,
it.
no matter what the fuck I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
It'll be
I'd be like,
someone
hold on,
in
I
this
got a
room.
sneaking suspicion on who the fuck just did this. Okay, I don't think those machines are even connected to the internet, anyways.
But yeah. Fuck technical difficulties. Fuck spending hours on end trying to resolve said technical difficulties.
I've noticed mostly as far as my experience goes, and there could be people out there that's the complete opposite, but in my experience, I mostly have issues when it comes to Windows. That's where most of my technical issues on in my home studio seem to crop up, is when I'm working on fucking Windows. It doesn't matter what computer I'm using, whether it's boot camp on my iMac, my wife's rig, my laptop, it doesn't matter. If it's Windows, I have a problem with it. Like, just random weird fucking problems.
I can relate.
The
'Cause I
Mac
only
OS
use
side of my
Windows.
computer, however, I have never had that thing crash out on me, ever. Like, ever. Like, I've never seen a Mac error screen in my life. I've seen screenshots on the internet, but I've never personally seen one on a Mac that I have owned, ever.
It's amazing how low the quality of a Windows operating system work is, as it's
Well, I mean,
the
when you open your damn
leading
start menu, you
operating
get
system.
ads served right to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It baffles me how they're on top and they're really just like enjoying not having to work.
It's because they're cheap and because they're cheap. And they're also more widespread because more stuff works on it. Like most computer games and most programs that regular offices need to use.
Yeah.
That's why Linux isn't stupid popular. Linux is stupid popular in the server world. Like, even at my work, a lot of our servers run on Linux. For
Yeah,
the stuff that we
Linux
need
is
to
seen as
use.
more utilitarian and it works really well for that.
But for
I
the
use
end
Linux
user,
on
for
my
the
home
end user,
computer.
you know, since most of Linux is, you know, you gotta go pretty much through a command line unless you're using like Linux Mint or like some newer version of like Ubuntu or something like that. You know, Linux it works for the market it needs to work in. Windows is for like somebody that just wants to turn on a computer, open up a Word document or a video game and just play it. In my
Right.
opinion, Apple products are for productivity people like myself, where I'm editing heavily. I need my machine to be able to hold my resources and not bitch and complain and throttle my CPU through the roof the minute I click on one thing in my Premiere timeline.
I've heard that said about Apple computers before, is that they're better for getting their productivity up and getting projects rolling.
Because honestly, with the Mac side, I really don't run into driver issues. I really don't. There's only like one device I've ever ran into a driver issue with, and I don't even have that device anymore. It was just some weird off capture card that I was trying to use, and it was a piece of shit anyways. So I don't blame that on Apple. I blame that on the shitty capture card developer that made that card. I'm not going to name names because, I mean, I have one of their newer products, and it works way better. But their original product fucking blew dick. So, you know, but like with my Mac OS side of my computer, I don't have any issues. It just fucking works. And that's the thing about Apple. It just works. I don't have to sit there and bicker with the computer to try to figure out what the hell's going on with it. You know, I just turn it on and get right to work. Windows, on the other hand, always seems to fucking want to give me an issue every time I start the computer, whether it be Steam needing to update every 2 goddamn seconds, Windows Update randomly shutting my computer off to update, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I dealt with enough of those problems where eventually I did actually switch to Linux. I use Linux Mint on my personal computer. And I just, similar to you, I don't deal with those problems anymore. You know, my shit just works. Now, there are some limitations to software you can use, but I found there's a workaround or a replacement software for pretty much anything you could need. Games, you can't just get a replacement game. Most cases, especially multiplayer, you want to get onto the actual game, play with real people.
Right.
But there are emulators that fill the role you need to be able to play the real game on Steam or wherever else for like 90% of games. So the restriction is way smaller than a lot of people think. And I didn't have to pay for a Mac in order to get an operating system that worked. I just, booted an absolutely free copy of Linux Mint onto a previously Windows computer, and I'm good
That's
to
the
go.
beautiful thing. There are distros out there that you have to donate in order to get, but you literally, nobody can claim Linux as their own because of what kind of operating system it is. It is just straight up a free-to-use operating system. There are some distros that people want, a donation, and it can be as little as a penny for you to get a copy of it. They just want to be at least somewhat recognized, but they're not actually selling it. They're just getting a donation from you, and in exchange, they're happen to be giving you it works out in the legal term to where they're not selling it, but like Linux is basically free. You can go out and get any copy of Linux you want, whether it be running for a server, for a personal computer, anything that you can dream. You can run Linux on a goddamn potato, and it will just work.
There's no bloat. There's such a little amount of bloat to almost every Linux distribution. The background files just meddling and bullshitting their way.
That's another thing I like about Apple. Yeah, they do have their bloat software on it, like that standard Apple bloat software, but it's not running in the background by default.
Right.
If you open something, it opens and it runs. You close it, you tell it to fully quit, it will stop running. It won't just sit there in the background, take up resources. Like if I quit Discord on my Windows side, there's some Discord process that's still fucking running somewhere in the system. Meanwhile, on my Mac side, if I tell Discord, hey, quit, it fully turns off.
Yeah, same on Linux Mint. I just, you tell something to stop, it'll stop immediately no matter what. So it doesn't fuck around.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to switch to
it really just
either Mac OS X or Linux eventually. It's just the only thing that stopped me from switching over to one of those operating systems is just the sense of familiarity with Windows, because it's what I've been using most of my life, and
it's a night and day difference, really. Which is why I talked about why it's so surprising that Windows is still on top.
Yeah.
They've just cemented their position. They're getting lazier and lazier in their success, and it's just a night and day difference.
Honestly, the reason why Windows is still on top is because at the point in time when Windows started to make a name for itself, Mac was still expensive because, again, it's built for professional type of people. People that want to be pros at what they do. It's for production, productivity, creativity, stuff like that. Linux wasn't super popular at that point. It was really mainly only popular to run servers with. It wasn't popular for an end user to use. So at that given point in time, Linux was a thing, and there might have been a few distros for an end user, but it wasn't super popular yet.
Sure, and I understand the initial history.
They recognize Linux now, but back in the day, if you have 4 versions of Windows and your whole office uses Windows, and then all of a sudden there's this newfangled thing called Linux that you've never heard of, you're going to be skeptical. So that's why they don't have a big market share, is because Windows just happened to be the up-and-comer first because they managed to get to the end user first.
Windows earned their spot back in the day, and they kept that. They deserved it for a long time. They just don't now. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, it's Windows is still functional. It's just that there's so many bits and pieces below the surface. People things that the average end user won't realize that fuck everything
Just
up.
so much bloatware. There was one day, I literally kid you not, I was playing video games with Ian and everybody. It was fine. Then out of nowhere, wasn't doing anything differently, my whole performance on the Windows side just fucking tanked. And I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? I open up Resource Monitor, and a system process, a Windows system process, was just pegging the shit out of my hard drive. It just threw it up to 100% and pegged it there, so the game I was playing was struggling to try to read and write its data it needed from my drive because Windows was doing whatever the fuck it was doing. It wasn't even an update. I still, to this day, don't know what it was doing. It just fucking threw my disk usage up to 100 and kept it there for a solid 30 minutes and then backed off.
Yeah, it's fucking... It's actually kind of impressive just how many ways Windows can fuck up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's just like I don't feel like going through the headache of, changing my operating system and then having to like learn a new set of rules or that kind of thing.
You could always do the little less popular option and do a split partition. Where you install it alongside Windows.
I take it that's a less popular option
for
a reason.
It can be a bit of a headache, and if you're not careful, you can wind up wiping your whole hard drive.
I figured it was something along those lines.
Because basically what you're doing is you're adding a new partition to your drive, and then you're installing the operating system to that partition. So whenever the computer boots, it'll ask you which one you want to use. My Mac will do the same thing, but my Mac kind of streamlined it with Boot Camp. I literally, whenever I need to upgrade my Windows operating system, I open up the Boot Camp Assistant on the macOS side, I pop in a thumb drive, it asks me what I want to do, and it even, I believe, has an option for you to remove macOS entirely and just install Windows.
Wow.
So these days, there are files designed to be loaded onto a flash drive and then loaded onto the computer, and so you can use and test the operating system without it being a permanent change to your computer.
Yeah, you can run Linux from a thumb drive, by the way. I've done a lot of, because I also do freelance IT work, not related to my actual job or anything, but I do freelance IT work, and I can't tell you how many customers that I've had where they're like, Windows won't boot, it just always blue screens out, I can't get any of my files back. And because, the Windows operating system got corrupted somewhere, whether it was a virus or something. And so it really comes in handy because I'll have, I've got like 4 thumb drives in my pocket literally all the time. One of them has Linux on it, like the current copy of, I think I use Mint. And so I'll just load it in and tell it to boot to my thumb drive, and then I'll mount their hard drive, plug in an external, or mount it to a drive over in the network, and then just slowly start dumping all their information off of the drive for them. And that's one thing I like about Linux is, I don't have to jump through hoops to get it to run. Just off the thumb drive, I plug in the thumb drive, literally tell it to boot to the thumb drive, and it drops me to the desktop and lets me do what I need to do.
If you want to personify it or anthropomorphize it, what it feels like is just Windows does not give a shit out of you, give a shit about you, is more than content to just slap you around whenever it feels like, because it just feels like you're never going to leave.
Basically, you're Microsoft's penis. You just get slapped around when they feel like it.
You're just your little fuckboy for Microsoft, and
there you go.
And then you go over to Linux, and Linux is actually just a decent human being. They're not even particularly nice. They're just normal, and you're like, oh, a normal person? I never thought I'd see a normal person again in my life.
And then Mac is its like big brother or something, because they're loosely based off of kind of the same code. Because doesn't Linux run off of the Unix base?
Some distros do, some don't. There's a huge tree of different distros, and they're all based on different.
Well, I knew
concepts.
that. I can't even begin to count how many distros there are.
There are thousands, most of which are dead now. So there's only like a couple hundred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the ear rape that is going on with the mic?
I had to move my microphone around so I could type on my keyboard.
Ah.
Alright. Fuck, I'm terrible at segues. What do we talk about now? Kappa's on our topic list. Do we just want to, all get collectively super fucking pissed at that? I mean, it's old news at this point, but...
Maybe next episode. This one is kind of getting kind of long.
Well, because our last...
well, we usually shoot for an hour and a half.
We can go into it now if you want, or we can end the episode early, because, and it is getting kind of late over here.
Vaguely, a little bit. I don't know.
We could talk about the Samurai Jack game. Anybody have any more?
I have no input on that because I haven't watched Samurai Jack, and I haven't seen the trailer for the game. So
it looks really promising. I'm looking forward to it. It seems like a So I'm gonna trail through kind of the series and video game form. So I'm excited for it. Supposedly it comes out this summer, so they've kept it really under wraps the past couple of years. Because the series fully ended like 2 years ago, I think, last year. No, I said 2 or 3 years ago. But no, I'm excited for it. I really like Samurai Jack, so I'll be checking this out when it comes out.
Nice.
Yeah, unlike anime to movie or game to movie, hopefully the transition from animated show to game will turn out better.
From what I've seen, the gameplay looks really nice. It's obviously, it's like 3D modeled, but it seems to keep the same characteristics and the same kind of look for Jack.
Yeah.
And the environments.
From what little I've seen of the trailer, like the art style at least seems to be like trying to stay in line with what the show gave us. And
Right.
I can respect that.
Is this
Like, it doesn't need to be one-to-one. Like,
original
this doesn't
voice
need to be
actor
like
for
fucking Dragon Ball Fighter Z. But I mean, for what we have, it's good.
So you want to know
Is-
what kind of mobile game that I've just recently fallen totally in love in, and I've been playing a shit
Is it
ton of
today's sponsor,
Shadow
Raid
Legends?
Shadow Legends?
It is not Raid Shadow Legends. That whole meme of a game. It is not that. It is actually called American Dad. I think it's called Apocalypse Now. I don't know why, but like I love playing it. I'm trying to find that. Yeah, or it's American Dad Apocalypse Soon.
Does the sun in the sky have a smile on his face?
I love.
Is he shining a salute to the American race?
Boy, it's well to say hello, copyright infringement.
God, it's been a hot minute since I've watched an episode of American Dad.
Same.
Dude, their most recent seasons have gotten funny as
Have
fuck.
it? 'Cause the last time I watched an
Yes,
episode
like-
was when I was like 12.
Dude, like you have so much to catch. Like the whole tone of the series is completely different now.
God damn.
It is funny as hell.
I might need to check that out then.
So from what I'm seeing of the game, it looks a bit like Fallout Shelter a little bit.
Yeah, kinda. Except not as a pain in the ass.
Well, I mean, I've never played Fallout Shelter, so
I have.
It's a
It is
very
a pain in the
resource
ass.
managed type of game, like where you have to manage your resources and whatnot. But
Mhm.
I don't know why, but I enjoy those kinds of mobile games when I do play mobile games.
you got games
Because they're
on
just
your
fun to me. I'm like the little kid. You got any games on your phone?
I don't know. I feel like mobile games, the only ones I enjoy are they have to be genuinely fun, and they also I have to be able to drop it in an instant, because that's the only type of games I can actually play on my phone. Is just
See, the
stuff I
beautiful
can
thing
pick up and drop.
About this American Dad game is if I just leave it alone for like a few days or even a couple weeks, I have so many resources available when I log back in.
Nice.
Because like it'll build them up while you're not in game too. So that's one thing that I like about the resource managed games, that it continues to like it'll check your time and whatnot, like with the digital server, and say, okay, well, if you were logged in from this time to this time, you would have got this much resources. Here you go. You know.
You guys were having your discussion in the background there, and I was I had brought up briefly. I had brought Dragon Ball Fighter Z up briefly, and that made me think of the weird camera fuckery that game does to like look accurate to the show, and doesn't look like it can actually just like save an image and show it to you. So
I'm gonna talk about weird camera fuckery. That's Super Mario 64.
let me just. Yeah, that's apparently what Gohan actually looks like when he's doing that move. Apparently most of Dragon Ball Fighter Z's animation is rooted in forced perspective. So when you
Yeah.
turn the camera like even slightly to the
His
side,
hand is like all the way big. It looks like he masturbates with that hand like a
Oh,
bajillion times a
absolutely.
day.
I'm trying to look for
It
like
looks
more
like,
examples of it.
It looks like Miss Marvel's power.
Oh yeah,
from
the
Marvel
fucking.
comics, you know. Her embiggening powers is just such a dumb name in my opinion.
I mean, if you want to call
That sounds like
elephantitis a
embiggening
superpower,
power.
then go right ahead. But I'm trying to find like other examples of it because I know there are more of just like characters
You are
like
failing.
they're like okay. The whole thing is that their hands just like their limbs, their hands get stretched out and resized to make it look better from like a certain perspective.
Plastic Man to the extreme.
Yeah, pretty much every character is Plastic Man in that game.
Plastic man.
Just so they can look normal from one angle.
That is not normal.
I've seen that. It's an animation technique I've seen a lot in SFM.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing if the camera's actually pointing at the top of his hand, then that would make sense. But from where that camera angle was positioned, it looked too weird.
Well, because
Like, I would get it if it was like a top-down shot, like it was looking from his fingertips to his head. That would make more sense. But because of where it was placed, it just looks like the camera is a mile away from his hand, but his hand's pretty big.
well, because that's exactly
And
what
his
had
hand's
happened.
like a mile away
Someone
from his
broke
body.
the camera to be in a position it was never intended to.
Oh, I gotcha.
That's a hack. I appreciate that hack because otherwise we'd never know that it was that the animation was just fucking with everyone.
Yeah.
Like they cheat to get a lot of those like dynamic shots.
That's what we're all about here on the DisOrganization podcast.
I appreciate them cheating
Tomfoolery,
like that though,
trickery.
because
it's
otherwise
called-
this game would
It's
look
called forced
awful.
perspective.
This game would look horrifying if they didn't do that.
Yep. It's got to be called forced perspective. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
But yeah, I think cheating the way they did ended up, benefiting the game a lot because Dragon Ball FighterZ is the best Dragon Ball fighting game, visually at least. I'd say it's the best fighting game, period. But like, yeah, it's really nice to look at visually. God, I'm rambling. We might need to wrap up the episode
Well, stop that.
soon because I'm losing my goddamn mind.
He's losing his steam.
All right, before
Honestly,
Morgan
that's
has an
just par for the
aneurysm,
course.
We'll kill it here.
Yeah.
Did somebody say aneurysm?
Aneurysm, not autism.
I can see how you'd make the mistake. They're practically
Oof.
neighbors.
That's real sad boy hours right there.
But yeah, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the DisOrganization podcast.
Thanks for having me. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you for coming on.
Thanks for
Steven.
being here, man.
Don't come back.
Coming
No,
on.
we can-
Ooh, baby.
We'll probably have him back on eventually.
We'll probably sink to the
Yeah,
depths
eventually,
low
but
enough
for
that
now
we'll
we
have
boot
to
his ass
invite
out
him
the
back.
door.
Yay!
All right, everyone, plug your shit.
Yeah.
Okay, go check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/All Things Abridged. It's linked down below. Go fucking look at it. It's amazing. You'll like it. Especially our newer episodes, Kill the Oko Bridge. Don't miss a fucking second of it. I swear to God. If you do, I'm going to come to your house. I'm going to kill you, okay? That's not a threat. That's a promise. I'm on an FBI watch list now, probably. I'm not actually going to kill you, so don't take that seriously. But seriously, go watch my shit. It's good. Go watch me and Ian's shit. It's real good. Promise. We have more projects we're doing on that channel that you can only see on that channel, such as Angel Beats a Bridge, another unmentioned project that I can't mention right now, Code the Oko Bridge, but you can also see it on Ian's channel if you really want to support his channel. His channel is kind of small. Go check it out on his channel if you're watching Code the Oko Bridge. We also have several Abridge series that we have in the works only on that channel, like Bakano Abridge. So go show love. Go love the channel, damn it.
Didn't someone else already do Bakano Abridged though?
Fight me, damn it.
All right.
Direct competition.
That one's not even mine. I'm just editing and only voicing like one or two
Yeah,
characters. Somebody else is like completely writing and directing that
Yeah,
shit.
gotcha.
All right. So Bing Studio over here. We got Twitch, Bing Studio Live, Twitter at Bing_studio.
I crash his streams a lot.
Yeah, he does. It's all right.
It's always entertaining.
Yep. We got a SoundCloud that does mediocre music. DJ Dragon, hit that up.
We're gonna collab one day.
Maybe. debatable. Again, like what Steven said, Code Lyric Abridged is also on my channel, so if you feel like double viewing, check it out, I guess.
Double the tabs, double the fun.
More views for everybody.
Okay. I'm
Right.
Spekter and Spekter Gaming on YouTube, Spekter YT on Twitch, and at Gaming Spekter on Twitter.
I am So Yeah Guy on YouTube and at So Yeah Guy on Twitter.
And
Look.
yeah. Wow, I really lost
Hold on.
steam towards the tail end of this this podcast. I gotta make up for it
That's
the
real
next
sad
episode.
boy hours, fam.
We'll catch you guys later.
Wait. The
Peace.
audience needs some important advice. Alright, I'm going to recite the all-important and critically important.
Is it Shrek is
The
life?
attack
Shrek is
on
life?
Pearl Harbor was a surprise military strike conducted by the Imperial Japanese Navy.
I now give you the fucking motto. Don't vote. Eat trash. Do
Get paid,
drugs.
Get laid, Gatorade.
Eat ass. Get cash. The fucking motto. Born Deadeye. World is a fuck. Thank you very much.
Here, do
I
you
hope
want me
enjoyed.
to reattempt that for you before we sign off?
No, that lackluster attempt was exactly what this podcast needed.
Okay.
I can
Thank
feel
you,
my
though.
skeleton moving independently from the skin that surrounds it.
Good for you, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap this up. Okay, bye everybody.
You should.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so